Hello, welcome to another edition of It's All About the Dogs. I'm your host, George Quinlan, and we are starting a new series. We had so much fun last week when Dawn was here that Dawn and I talked about this, and we started a brand new series, and it's called A Day in the Life with, and we'll fill in the blanks. We're not going to do a day in the life with torpedoes or things like this, but we're going to do a day in the life today with Groomer. Our guest today came up from Massachusetts. Her name is Susan Gregory. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Appreciate it. And Dawn, thank you so much.
Nice to be back.
I'm
Thanks,
really
George.
looking forward to this new series we decided to work on together. If you watched the show last week, then you know that Dawn's a photographer and she takes amazing pictures. If you didn't watch the show last week, get on your computer and go check it out, back it up, and trying to find out when it's still being aired, okay? You're a show behind. Catch up. So, today we want to talk about grooming and the importance of, so tell me a little bit about what you do first.
Well, I am a professional canine cosmetologist.
A cosmetologist.
That's what we prefer to call ourselves.
Okay, you're not doing facelifts.
Or a pet stylist. No facelifts.
Okay,
And we only work on full-legged animals.
Okay, all right.
I'm going into almost 20 years of business. I have a little different approach to grooming than a lot of other places. I have a very holistic approach to all of my services, and so it's a lovely environment to bring your animals in a very relaxed environment as well.
Spa-like.
It's
I would
very
definitely say
spa-like.
spa-like.
Well, you know, Dawn spent the day with you yesterday?
Yep,
Saturday. And we're going to be showing some pictures as we're chatting a little bit. And we can see some, and we'll build off of those pictures. And what makes, let me make sure I word this right. What makes the spa-like different than what we're used to seeing in a pet shop
Well,
type groomer?
I think I think the days of the backroom grooming are really over. I mean, the pet care industry is so big. I know I also actually owned a state licensed grooming school, which is one of the only holistic grooming schools in the country, which I just closed this year.
kidding.
But
I'd like to attend that just for my personal
it
use.
was, about 6 or 7 years ago, the pet care industry outsold the music and the electronic industry combined.
Yeah.
And people don't have as many children. Their animals are their children. Me being one of them, I don't have children, so my animals, I know what people want, and it's just unacceptable to not give them what you would want in a spa as well.
Okay.
And people are pretty savvy. They know what there's so much more information out there. They research their breeds. They know what they're supposed to look like and how often they should come in to be groomed. So people are really up on their game too, and those are the clients that are really attracted to what we have to offer.
Okay. So tell me what the health benefits are. Let's talk about the health benefits of getting your dog groomed.
First of all, the health benefits are getting your dog into an environment that's relaxed is just a win-win for the dog emotionally, getting them away from the parents, but being able to bathe the dog and have your hands on your subject and feeling for any type of things that may be bumps or cuts, like your boy's a shaggy boy, might be hard for you to see things that a professional would see by blow drying. So we scan the whole body from toes to tail.
Gotcha.
Every inch of the body at our shop is covered, so all of that's brought to the client's attention.
So let me ask for a second, since you said you go from head to tail. Do I get a discount because he doesn't have a tail?
He gets a discount just because he's so friggin' handsome and I love Bouviers, okay? That's just a given. You're just working that in.
Okay. Here we go.
Getting
what's
them
going
used
on
to having
here?
their nails trimmed, like the dogs at our shop. We do everything in a formatted system, and the dogs are very regimented to that behavior. So having the nails trimmed, keeping the ears cleaned, any type of things that the dog might be timid with, you can bring to the client's attention and help them to help the dog on the outside so that when they come in, they're very relaxed and they enjoy coming in.
Tell me, what can your clients do, or what can dog owners do to make life easier for the dog, and that's important because it is all about the dogs.
Always.
And the groomer who's going to be trying to clean this dog up. What can they do in between their visits to make life easier for everybody?
That's a very good question. They can play with their paws. Socializing them is the key. Bringing them to different places, but playing with the feet. And just in case they have injuries to their feet, they're already going to be stressed. So if they're used to their feet being played with, it's just going to alleviate some of that stress in a traumatic situation.
Sure.
Just really making sure the dog is used to being in a condo or a kennel, which, there are a lot of groomers that maybe might advertise kennel-free environments, but that's really not a safe, not from a professional point of view. So having a dog not being stressed in a condo at home is going to it's just going to help them to have a very more relaxed and enjoyable time.
I agree. I've been in the field for 45 years. Oh, my Lord.
You're aging yourself now.
And when I first got started, of course, crates weren't that popular. And halfway through my career, once I decided you started using crates, could I do it without a crate? Sure. Would I? Never. There's just so much more benefits to teaching a dog to really enjoy the crate.
Yes.
And I get people who are resistant, and I try to say, okay, what happens if he wants to go to see a groomer? He's going to have to spend some time in a small confined area to get dried, or at least to be safe. Say the dog gets injured and it has to go to the vets, they're going to have to spend some time in the crate. So a crate is going to be a part of our life, whether we like it or not. So why not condition the dog early, right?
Exactly, and it ends up being a safe place when they're in an unfamiliar environment such as a vet, and they already know it's stressful when they walk in. They're sick animals. When they go in their crate,
the smell alone of a dog that's been there stressed earlier from the adrenaline, compressing, help me out here, compressing the anal glands.
Yes, yeah.
You get a dog that's been stressed, and my dog walk up and say, no, there's something wrong here, So an environment like this, that's your environment here, that's stress-free, you're not going to have the issues. The dogs are already walking in calmer.
They are.
So
we're very proud of that, too.
Yeah, and I mean, watching the transition and the transformation these dogs go through, you can see some of the energy just calmly dissipate the longer they're there. And I mean, this particular image of one of Susan's staff is...
That was one of my student graduates, too.
She's amazing, and she worked on several dogs while I was there, and that's what I saw from all of the people who were there working with these animals throughout the day, is that type of connection. Like, there was a genuine connection point between the staff and the dogs, and knowing that they were there being so well taken care of throughout the day.
Like this guy here, he just he doesn't like being touched
Well,
at all.
you can tell that.
He just doesn't want, But of course, if he doesn't know you, and that's the whole thing. Some dogs are more outgoing, and they like to be in touch. And you're going to work with clients or cases like a Bouvier, the breed itself generally is not one it's not a Labradoodle, and I say that because this coat makes them look like a Labradoodle. But they're not going to have the personality. And so you need to be able to know your breed, know your dogs within the breed. We talk about this many times. We talk about this our last show together, that within the breed, when you're taking photographs, not only do you need to know the breed, but you have to know the individuals within the breed.
And the sensitivities.
And even more so in your, even more so in your field.
They're all individual souls. And, like when people come in and they'll say, oh, she doesn't like this or that. I say, Mom, can you leave that at the door? The dogs don't know that,
love
we
that.
just want to
I
move
love
forward.
that.
Just leave it at the door and let us give her a fresh, clean slate. Let's go into it and go, you know what?
Yeah.
You're going to be okay here. Let's not bring that in the back. And we've helped a lot of dogs turn it around like that. That's Girly Girl in the tub right there.
She's a special. She's
very special. She was a Puerto Rico girl.
Yeah, a Sato. So, for this dog knew she had Susan's undivided attention.
Well, we let her pick out her bow too. I let
Yeah.
them pick out their bows and bandanas, and believe it or not,
They
I
pick.
swear, George, they will match, and they will let you know which bow they want, what color they want.
That's it. I have to
All
sidetrack.
right, slow
I have to
down a
side.
bit,
No,
too
no,
weird.
no, 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 not at all. I have to sidetrack with this. I have a. And when I was in Oregon, hey, when I don't need a bath. That's the thing about Bouviers. They have to get a drink and then come home and say, "Hey, let me share."
Yeah, here's some drool and some water.
When I was in Oregon, I was doing 100 dogs a week. And so I had a hard time. Most of the time I remembered all the dogs, but sometimes I would mess up their sexes. I would say, call the boy a girl, the girl a boy. And one day, and I encouraged play in our place. I encouraged my clients to participate and be a part. This was not about, it was about them. It was about their school. It was about their puppies. And so one day somebody showed up with a dog, with a little beagle, with a beautiful little ribbon and a bow. And I said, "Oh, you went to see the groomer. How nice." And then Airedale showed up and had a pink one. I went, "Oh, you went to see a groomer too. Isn't that cool?" Third one shows up. I goes, "All right, what's going on?" There was a woman outside giving out colored ribbons so they could tell the difference between the boys and the girls. So I encouraged that. And I just thought, immediately somebody said, "Oh, you went to see a groomer."
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They
Now,
know.
I want to talk about, and some of the pictures can still go through, folks, so
Sure.
you can hear us talk and look, and I may have Dawn interrupt if she sees something that she would like to make a special note, because these are her photographs, and I'm sure that she chose them for a particular reason.
I
so if
did.
you see one that
Well,
you
like
want to touch
this
on.
particular series that's coming up is an older dog who is blind, and mostly deaf, and Susan knows extremely well. And I think what's remarkable about seeing the transformation that this dog went through is that
That's Corky.
it's
His name's Corky.
Corky's always talked to throughout the process, and everything you can actually see in the photographs how gently Corky's being worked with.
See, yeah.
And
it's-
there's no fear. There's very few, if any, fear indicators in the body language of this dog. I actually had also photographed Corky prior to this, and ironically, he was in there that day when I was with Susan recording. And man, they're just happy. It's like you can feel the relief that he has to be there. He's in really capable, good hands. He's constantly being loved on, talked to, handled professionally, respectfully. It's the whole spa treatment,
One of the things I love about my scruffy boy, he's probably this time of year, he's probably more wet than he is dry. You know what I mean? So just when I get him dry to do something with him, he goes outside and he gets wet again.
Yeah.
And so this is my unkept look, but this coat is designed for
Yep.
this, where some of the other coats are not. They'll mat up pretty easy. My Border Collie's tail with the wet snow just matted up. I've never had a mat, and he's almost 12. Never had a mat in his life. All of a sudden, he had and this is my little movie star, and I'm just like, oh my God, can't we don't get another call back? He's got no tail anymore.
Now you know a groomer who can take care of that.
So one of the things that I try to explain to my clients is that when you have a dog, there's 4 areas that they really enjoy being, and that's playing and eating and touch. Touch is critical, and to me, grooming a dog, when I spend time brushing him, it's a connection. Nothing else in the world exists. It's just between me and my dog. And I try to explain this to clients, no matter how busy you are. Take 5 minutes. If you had a child, you wouldn't let them go outside without combing. I mean, I do. But you wouldn't let your child go outside without combing or go somewhere without combing their hair. Why do you let your dog go out? Why not give the dog a 2-minute brush? And if you give the 2-minute brush, would that not stimulate the skin? Touch on this for me.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And even beyond that, George, is the people are getting more out of it than the dogs.
Yeah.
If they just take a few minutes, they're going to breathe a little
They
better.
try.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just don't think we can do it, and we're going to mess it up, and we want that perfect coat.
And having the right tools too. It's like any other career. If you don't have the right tools, you're working twice as hard.
Boy, what a great segue.
You're so funny.
I want you to look at my. You like this, huh? I don't use these all the time. I do them when I need them, but I'd like for you to look at my tools and tell me if I need new tools.
Oy vey. All right, so let me ask you this. What does Merlin think of those tools?
Well, I'll show you. Hey, buddy.
Well,
Oh, he likes this one.
that one. Yep.
Loves this one.
And he's got a different coat than a lot of Bouviers, too.
Very, yeah.
So-
Oh, you're gonna, that's probably killing the microphone. Everybody's in the stable.
Listening to him huff and puff.
He's got something to say. You
Yeah.
know what? They always do.
His coat is really different than your AKC show dogs, conformation dogs. This is a working coat.
I like it.
Yeah, and and I use this when I need to, but very seldom do I ever have to. But I use it mostly on his legs, where I keep up on him a lot. And he gets the knots out. You recommend we get rid of that?
Well, how does he like that when you use that?
Yeah, he's not crazy.
And you're pretty in tune with him, so
Yeah.
I know you know when to stop. But
Yeah.
those tools have been around for a long time.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what I'm gonna
those
say.
are my Bouvier's tools from the '80s.
And they still serve a purpose. They're not a lot of the tools. Like a lot of golden retriever people will try to use these with the pantaloons, like
Yeah.
the Newfoundlands, and it's not really designed for that anymore. There are so many other better tools that don't pull on the dogs quite like those do, and it's all about how you're using it. Like this one isn't so bad, but they can be sharp. You can do
can be
damage
nasty,
to a
yeah,
dog if
yeah.
you're not.
I
Sure.
picked them up out of the seat to bring it in. Look at that, guys.
They're like
Look
little
at
razors.
Poor me. Imagine that your dog, if you're coming in
Yes.
and too rough.
Yeah.
So you really do have to take your time. Yes, these two are very old, but and this one here replaces that. Actually, I try to use this one in place of both of them.
And that's a lovely tool for any dog because it's really not getting so much for the mats, but more. I mean, it's
coat.
pulling the coat and
Yeah.
and he likes it.
Oh, he does.
You like it, huh? Yeah, you like it.
You know, he starts looking at you when you start grooming him. You have to kind of say,
He's like, thank you. It feels so good.
What I tell people is, you want to make
"You
sure
can
you're
show the
combing
floor
your
here.
dog.
Steve will clean up later.
Because those little nits, they start at the skin.
Yes.
And people tend to just brush or use the wrong brush, and they're brushing over, and then they go, wait a minute, this mat came up overnight. And I said, no, it started
it's
real.
been there, yeah.
So I tell people, don't comb your dog, but use it as your reality tool. When it gets snagged, stop and find the little nit.
Yes.
And take a brush or gently
Yep.
work it out like that.
Well, I think they call this one a greyhound comb. I'm not sure why they call it a
I
greyhound
never could
comb.
figure that out either, and you are correct. It is a greyhound comb.
And the only time I always best good. I kind of finish up with this. It gives a whole different look.
It does.
Beautiful.
That
That's the
transformation.
That's the
Yeah.
Bouvier fall I'm looking for right there, huh?
Yeah.
And I finish with this, no matter what we do. At the end of the day, or if I just want to sit with them, because I'm not going to start with this because it's never going to
You're,
get anywhere.
you're right on. And
Yeah.
that's just what we use for a finishing tool after we brush the dog out with the dryer.
Yep.
That's what we go through to detect for any mats.
Yeah.
Collars. I use a Fur Saver for his coat, as he loves that, and because it really helps, the flat collar wouldn't kind of compress. What do you recommend your clients to use for collars? Or?
Especially my little furry fuzzy butts and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
These guys,
Rolled
yeah.
leather collars.
Rolled leather collars.
Anything that's
Beautiful.
material is gonna rub against the skin and mat up the neck, especially if you've got a thick coated dog like this.
Yes.
Rolled leather harnesses even on these little dogs that it's like a broom going through, walking outside. They pick up everything. And so that really, they spend the money on a rolled leather collar and they're going to save the money on the dematting.
So that's a Bichon?
That's the 15-year-old Bichon right there that
Oh,
was in the
my
tub.
buddy, bud. Hey,
I
bud.
like
That's a 15-year-old
That's
Bichon.
Corky right there.
Yeah.
And the collar like that, nice little roll collar.
Corky has a blue rolled leather collar actually.
Fancy.
I really like
He's
the
very
roll
well
collars,
taken
and we
care
used to
of.
have one, but no longer. Oh my gosh, look at that.
That's Izzy. Izzy was called a demon at another grooming shop, and so we started working with her about 6 or 8 months ago, and she's a pretty cool little dog. I like the spicy kids anyhow.
Yes,
we
you
do
do.
a lot of the special needs and the delicate flowers, but again, we leave it at the door and we just start over in the back, and Every dog is, we just go with every dog's pace.
I think
Again,
This is it.
Merlin
I
loves
like
his
to try
belly
to get him
rubs.
to roll on his back and so I can clean him up so I don't make sure, because this is the area where he's going to get matted the easiest, on the belly. I like to get my clients to condition their puppy. I don't believe in dominant rollover. I do not believe in dominant rollover to control the dog. I think you're absolutely insane and you're going to get hurt someday. But I like to teach my puppies to roll over so I can groom them and touch them. And he likes it so much that he climbed it up on Don's lap last week
he
and
did?
rolled right over and fell over. These little pups that you have here, are they? Do you show the owners when they go home things that they can do to help keep that nice connect? Because I find grooming my dog a nice, really, really wonderful
Agreed.
connection.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And
You know, we used to do 30-something, 40 dogs a day, truly, and now we do no more than 20, and I make more money doing 20 than I did doing 40 or 50 because I stopped catering.
yeah, I hear you.
The four-legged dogs, the four-legged animals are my clients. The people pay the bill. I know it sounds, but I always
It's a
have to make
business.
it about the animal.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we stopped rushing and trying to get the dog out in a couple hours because Mrs. Jones needed it back, and I just made it all about the dogs. And some people went to the wayside, and that's okay. They just want a bath or whatever they want, but then the people that really saw that their dogs felt comfortable coming and enjoyed coming, they got it. And
I believe that in what you're saying completely, that it's the quality that we're looking for. With my dogs, it's the quality. When I have a client, I've given up a lot of clients, and I will not take on clients unless they're serious about working, because
yes.
if it's not quality, it's not about the money. It's about the work and producing and making that connection and making people's lives. And what I found was getting emails or letters from people I haven't seen in a decade and saying, my dog's now, I just lost my dog at 15, thank you
Yes.
for the best years. And that's what I'm seeing here at your facility.
Yeah.
There is a wonderful woman that took care of Bobby before I went to the movies. And what I like about her, when you call her place, she said, we're a low volume, high quality.
Yes.
She's straight out across the board. We don't care about the numbers. We want the quality. And
Yes.
she's even shut down on weekends so she can spend some time with her family and spend Monday through Friday on the animals and give them the best that she can give them.
You have to. You have to. And you know, I tell my students, you can have a crappy morning and come in the door with a smile on your face, but the dogs know the difference. You have to be up on your game with every dog, and you have to you owe it to your clients,
Yeah.
the animals, to be in a good frame of mind and to keep a good flow going
Yeah.
of energy.
Do you have we have a little bit of time left. Do you have a particular, are these shampoos? Are these nail polishes?
I left the polishes at home, but we do have 32 assorted colors that our clients can choose
Yes.
from.
I appreciate you letting me bring this crystal for me to keep myself.
You like that amethyst?
I do.
I'll
That's
give it
just
to you if you promise to put it on the show every week. Keep it up in the background. You can have them.
Oh, are you serious? This
Yeah.
thing is no. This it's
beautiful.
I'm
really?
serious.
She's
yeah.
a giver.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, wait, I'll have to take. Did you get a picture
Steve,
of Big
you
Daddy?
you get this on the screen?
Big Daddy.
That's just
big amethyst
so. One of
at
the
the front?
requirements, Steve,
I
is
didn't,
this
not for
is
this
going to be left, and every time we have a show, it's going to be sitting. It's sort of like, you ever meet Jane Goodall? Ever see her?
I wish I
I wish I
had
had.
met her.
Bobby and I spent some time with Jane Goodall in private, and that's a story by itself. And whenever Jane goes anywhere, she has a little monkey with her, a stuffed monkey, everywhere she goes. It was given to her as a gift, and no matter, and if she doesn't holding it, then her liaison is, and she's holding this. So this will have to be my.
That's
my,
I love it.
It's
I think it's
awesome.
found its new
Yeah.
home.
And
this
she
is
has
just
those
really beautiful.
everywhere.
I love stuff like this, and I used to keep one in my pocket when I had some, when I was traveling, because I used to lecture and travel, and it was very stressful, and I decided it's not my lifestyle. I'm a homebody.
Yeah, well, we were called weird way before our time, and now people are starting to go, wait a minute, I think they might be
something
weird,
to
but they've got something over
Well,
there.
I think it's the weird who aren't open. So Zen Dog.
So these are our Zen Dog Holistic Healing Formulas, which I actually created and about 10 years ago out of a need for really true aromatherapy and pure therapeutic grade essential oils that would help make a more relaxed and working environment for the animals and my employees and my clients. So we have ear cleaners, eye washes.
Are these the products you use at your?
Oh, yeah.
There are no chemicals on my premises. There's a gallon of bleach that we use on Saturdays because we have hydrotherapy units in our tubs that we flush out. But it's after all the dogs are gone and it's irrigated out through the shop until Monday. But we have no chemical cleaners. And the dogs love that. They know when they come in, they're not assaulted by any of that Febreze or the stuff these people got going on in their houses that just, it drives you nuts.
That's really important because you hear my voice squeak when I get excited about the topic.
Yeah.
I did it too.
Yeah. Because when I'm dealing with behavior issues, and especially aggression, one of the things I evaluate is the person a smoker? Is an alcoholic involved? Are they on a lot of medications? I use neutral soaps when I go visit a dog. I use nothing that has any kind of perfume because they're so sensitive. People don't realize how powerful their nose are.
Yeah.
And pollutants are heavier. Toxins in the air they hang down like 3 to 4 feet.
And right above the dog's nose.
All those fragrances, so even what we smell at our level isn't even as intense as what they smell down in their level.
Yeah.
I tell people when you're questioning something, get down to a dog's level and see it from their point of view.
Yeah.
Just brief it. And of course people think I'm insane, but.
I love being down at
Me
the dog's
too.
level.
That's how I
That's where
roll.
I'd rather be,
I work that way
actually.
all the time. And I have to say, I've integrated Susan's sprays into my repertoire when I go into people's homes to work with these animals, the dogs or whatever, and I'll spray them in the air around the dog and try and use that to keep both the animals that I'm working with and the people calmer, because everybody gets a little antsy around cameras and stuff, and it's fantastic.
I want us to do
It's fun
another
stuff.
show just on this alone.
Yeah, this stuff is
Would you
amazing.
spend some time taking
course.
spending more time with her, getting some more pictures because I love your work.
Thanks, George.
And
I love your work.
Thank you.
and
You love her
and
work.
you can
don't
bring this message. We can talk about it, and videos just don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that still shots really tell more story than a video.
Yeah.
Like this picture right here by itself.
Yeah.
That's Ollie, 197-pound Great Dane. And we have these little booty bling stencils that I picked up at a trade show. So he left with a beautiful Playboy bunny on his little behind.
Yes, he did.
I said, Dad, be proud walking him around. He put his sunglasses on and said, I will be now.
Yeah. But I think it's also interesting to see the range. She goes from like a 4-pound
Little
dog
Izzy to Ollie.
and she can handle it all. Like, these dogs come to her doorstep when they need to be there, I'm convinced.
I am too. I see dogs when they're supposed to be with me, and you also similar but different, but more similar than we realize is if I have a client who is difficult right off the bat with not taking the problem serious, then I know they're not going to maintain
The training.
program.
Yeah.
And it's very, and the same thing with your work. It's you give the best you can. Then once they go home, they're out of your hands. And that's why I was asking earlier, what can we do to keep the dog prepared to come to you in between sessions? One of the things, I'm not one for dressing doggies up in costumes.
Yeah.
Okay, but that said, when I have a family with children, I encourage the children putting socks on the dog and putting a T-shirt on the dog. You have any idea why I would do something like that?
Just for the dog to get exposure to stuff like that.
Yeah. Exposure training.
Things on their feet, so on and so forth. Well, I think, because Merlin keeps going over to the clock, he's really a nag sometimes. And he really is trying to push our time.
He runs the set,
It's
It's his set. We just come
Did you notice
visit.
he keeps going over to the clock and looking? And I swear to God, at home, we have a clock, and at the old house, the Bouviers would sit there and look at the clock when it was 6 o'clock for feeding time. And I said, this is getting annoying, dogs. And then I realized it wasn't the clock. The dog just was right under the clock.
Well, you're going to take the clock off the wall?
But what I think that I might want to do is maybe even combine. We'll work through. I want to learn more about these, and we don't have the time.
I'd love to talk more about them.
And I really want, because one of the things that we use in my business is pheromones. And what you're describing is the same thing, you know? And I used to use Native American flute music in my background when I worked with any aggression case.
Lovely.
Just flute, nothing else. And I watched the changes when the animals would come in from the time that when they were allowed to. And when I stopped using it, I noticed a time difference of how quickly they recovered. Another thing I use to test an animal is I drop food on the floor for them, high value food, but I don't do it to win them over. I do it to test their stress level, because they won't eat, as you know. When a dog reaches a certain stress, they're incapable of eating because their intestines, the involuntary muscles shut down. So it's my way of testing. And I found that when I had the Native American flute music on, and I'm not going to remember his name, but I had like every thing he made. Of course, it's I would notice the dogs would eat a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Of course.
And so was it the sense for the people, or was it for the dog? It really doesn't matter, because I don't get the luxury of seeing the dogs without the people.
Right.
You know, but I do see the people for a while before I bring the dog in, to prepare to know what to expect. And then the dog tells me the true story.
Always.
Yeah. So I have a great idea that next week I'm going to be having this beautiful little 11-week-old Bouvier puppy on the set. And we're going to be doing is, so I got teased because I used the word social skills. Socializing, social skills isn't really, you know, the thing is one of the things that Mondio Ring people do is they do a lot more than they ever imagined, and more than anybody else who raises puppies that I could think of, where they have a kiddie pool and they have it filled with stuff, and the puppy jumps in to get it to its food. And so they have to get used to senses. So when people get Mondio Ring dogs, they prepare their dog for life more than any other dogs.
It's true.
And what I would like to do is address this puppy next week. I have a program I'm going to be doing with him on socialization. Socialization to me is not dogs running up to every dog they see and playing. Right? I want to get this puppy ready for grooming, because I don't believe he's going to be doing the grooming, and I'm not a groomer. I'm offered to take the dog in. I can take him down with a number 4 blade. I can kind of help keep him clean and show him the foundation stuff. But if I want to send him to you, what age would you want to see the puppy to start with?
I think they're never too young.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's the right environment, they're never too young to leave with a good impression.
Okay, and so what I'm going to do is we're going to be working on. I'm meeting with the puppy tomorrow, and we're going to be working with in different environments. We're taking him up to my ranch, up to my farm.
Perfect.
And I have a 20-acre place not too far from here, and it's on top of a ridge, and so there's a barn, 60-foot barn. And we're going to be spending some time in the barn, getting used to the animal on different types of things, and then outside. And not much outside I can do right now because with the snow, the grass and stuff like this, obviously. But my long-winded approach to get to this is, what would you recommend as a groomer who's going to do the dog's feet? What kind of surfaces? I'm going to be using bubble wrap. I'm going to use plastic bags.
Very good.
I use a trash tin. So I put food in the middle, and the trash tin wobbles, and if the dog wants to get to it, he's going to step onto the tin to get used to the wobbling in the middle. Sometimes you can think you have everything thought of. Can you make a suggestion that's something that might benefit the dog for you later?
Geez, I think you've just made a bunch of great points, and I think the majority of pet owners really don't even know that much.
Yeah.
So what you just said was, it's just about the more you can get them into different environments and on different surfaces, and put them on a table, put them here. Putting them up on a table is huge.
Huge, yeah.
You know, big dogs are afraid of height. Little dogs are always held up here.
Yep.
So that, like, and I'm afraid of heights, so I can totally identify when I've got to put a 195-pound Great Dane on the table, and they're like, wait a minute, I thought life was already big when I was standing on the floor.
Yeah.
So putting your dog on the table as a puppy, just raising it up and picking it up, that helps at the vets too,
Yes.
you know?
Yep. And I have, I went all out this year. I bought an electric.
Oh,
Wow, I don't even have electric tables.
no, you don't.
I went from having the standard one, and that's because it was 25 years and it finally broke. And, and we're both now getting up there in age. My wife says, I don't want to have to lift the dog because it's not the problem. The dogs jump on the table easy. It's getting them off so they don't get hurt
Hurt,
in the
right.
concrete. Well, I got to tell you, when I take that grooming table, we can keep it tucked in the corner. We lower it just behind, lower the counter. And when I take that little bugger out, I have, if I don't lock the dogs up, I have 2 bouviers on top of the thing while it's moving.
It's,
You know?
that's,
And both of them just love to be groomed. And then, of course, the poor border collie's trying to get up, and he's the one I have to lower it for nowadays, you know. But I have 2 bouviers really fighting. I'm trying to push this, and I say, "Will you guys stop?" Or if I'll push the button for it to go up and down. I think the little girl likes to get up there and just ride the thing up and down. So I press the button, and go, time to go up, time to go down, time to go up.
it's like going to a dog show. You'll see poodles, you won't even see the owners. They'll be off at a ring somewhere showing a dog, and the poodles will be passed out on the table. It becomes so comfortable for them in a way of life. So they're just so impressionable when they're babies.
Good.
And I think the other dogs in the environment are their best teachers. You know, if you get a stressful dog that comes in and they're used to a loud environment, after about 10 or 15 minutes, all the other dogs in the shop look around and go, dude, chill out.
Yeah.
And they're like, no one's freaking, everyone's all right. And they just follow suit. You don't have to do anything, really.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we talk about, fear of falling is big for a lot of animals. That's one of the highest fear for mammals, is the biggest fears from what I've studied in the past. I was a zookeeper for a long time, so when we handled animals in the general public, the main thing we had to make them feel that they were secure.
Yeah.
So you learned how to hold a mammal,
Yes.
to go around, that the animal knew it was going to fall. We're going to be teaching one thing that you want to teach a young dog, or learn, if you don't know how to learn how to lift your dog up properly.
Yeah.
Don't pick it up by the armpits and have the arms spread. It makes me want to cry when I see these puppies being picked up in their arms, and they wonder why the dog wants to bite them.
And sometimes they just pick them up by the legs.
Yeah.
They
So
just do that.
talk to your vet. If not, talk to your groomer. If not, if you want to see stuff like this, this is the type of shows that we're trying to look for. This is the shows that we want to bring to you. You have questions. If you don't bring them up, you're letting it up to me, boy. I'll take you off on some journey that you'll just be totally dumbfounded about. But I want to thank Susan for coming in.
Thank
and
you for
Dawn
having
again.
me.
My pleasure.
I hope we went through, everybody got a chance to enjoy some of the pictures while we were chatting.
Yeah.
And there wasn't as much explanation on because there's so much to cover in a short time. But we did discuss the possibility of coming back again and doing on herbs and shampoos and just that alone. I wasn't prepared to talk about that today. So thank you for advice. I think I'll save these as antiques. But you still like them though, don't you? But you're used to them, so the heck.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you would like to add before we wrap up, Dawn?
I just think it's important to know that the way that Susan's approach has been done is something I have never seen before. I've used mobile groomers. I've been in grooming shops throughout my 13 years of work, and these dogs are calm, controlled, relaxed, because it's imperative for her that she create a space for them, not the dog owners. From the crystals to the products that are used to everybody who touches those animals, it is a truly holistic experience.
So Susan, not everybody's going to make it down to your place, and you don't have enough room for everybody that I want to send you.
Yeah.
So what can you suggest for them what to look for in a grooming, for if they want to get the dog groomed somewhere? Can you talk about just your suggestions? We don't have to push any, because the one I would tell people to go to in a minute, they're not taking any more clients.
Well, that's
the group. That's the the quality.
right. Because it's not because there's a lack of groomers out there. It's people are just more aware. And the bottom line is you have to trust your dog.
It's great.
If your dog is comfortable going, you know your dog. You know when your dog get back. I used to tell my students, something bad could happen to a dog, and the dog's going to be very happy to see mom and dad when they come pick him up. But when they get back home in their environment, the parents are going to know how that dog received their day. And they just don't lie. They just don't lie.
Listen to your dog.
Listen, trust your dog. Listen to your dog. My father said to me once, and I'll never forget it, he said, if you ever want to know how a man will treat you, watch how they treat your animals when they don't think anyone's looking.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of gone by
quite
that.
interesting.
You know?
I want to touch on one thing, a story that you could appreciate. The reason I started grooming my own dogs was before rescue was the in word, and I have an issue with that word, rescuing dogs, because it gives a mindset that the dog's helpless.
Yes. Yes.
And I really think that we need to eliminate that word. We're doing it to I think, more to increase adoptions and using emotional state, and I think that it's more harmful than beneficial. I really do.
I agree.
But I used to work for the SPCA out of Boston. I worked for the law enforcement department as an ambulance driver, and I used to, before that, I went out on the field a lot. I worked in the adoption center, and our job was to match the best. But this was a passion of mine even way back then, because I already had 4 or 5 years from research laboratories and doing my research with wolves and so on. Somebody came in with these Bouviers, an adult and 2 7-month-old females. And turned out the male was a cat killer. And in the Roxbury area of Boston, it was kind of a tough place for that dog to end up. But I ended up taking one. It was my first Bouvier. Her name was Gypsy. She was natural crop, no cropped ears. And I wasn't up on grooming yet. I wasn't aware of, it was my first Bouvier. The reason I fell in love with it is I met somebody who worked there, had a Bouv, a big, monstrous male. And this was a beautiful little female, very active, very energetic. So I thought I was doing her the best to send her to a groomer in Boston. And I went to pick her up 4 hours later, and she was in the cage behind the counter. And when they opened her up, the cage, she came out and jumped over the counter, not on top of it, very athletic. Cleared the counter, and half of her was done. Half of her was shaved, and the other half was left alone. They couldn't handle her. And I said I could never do that to my dog again, but that was my first connection, understand, with a grooming facility. And this was back in 1974. So life has changed tremendously. I don't want to give the vision that your dog's going to hell, but pay attention. I looked at Gypsy and I said, I'm going to have to learn to do this myself.
Yeah.
And what I
That's
sent.
unfortunate.
Yeah, but it was beneficial for me in the long run, because it taught me more to pay attention to my dog and made me appreciate how much I can examine my dog every time I groom him, every time I comb him. So for me, it was very beneficial, but not everybody has the time and the power or the confidence to groom their little dogs. But that's why I was asking, what do you look for? And your dog won't lie. Your dog will come back. If the dog's stressed out, it's going to tell you.
Right, and when you call people, you can hear a smile on the phone. Yeah. Are you listening to dogs barking in the back? Did they sound like they were rushed, or are they put out by your questions, or are you greeted with a warm welcome? And I have clients that say, I don't even know there's any dogs back there. Yeah. And there's no whining, and I have signs all up in my shop, and I expect the dogs to read the signs and understand it, but that's not why they don't whine. There's no need to whine. They're kind of in tranquil bliss back there.
I think you need a liquor license anyhow, don't you?
I think you do.
Wine.
So it's just, get a good feel. Trust your instincts and trust your dogs. There's a lot of wonderful groomers out there now who are making it all about the dogs,
and
which is
that's
beautiful.
I think that's what I want. It is all about the dog.
It is.
And if it's just all about the buck, if they're rushing through and they're overloaded and they've got too many dogs to get through in a day, then I want to reevaluate.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Is your dog getting the need that they want? And there's so many connections we can make to this. But the reality is they're with us for a very, very short time. Yeah. They're never with us long enough, folks. And you've got to give them the time now to appreciate and not resent it and say, oh boy, I wish I did this when he was younger. Oh boy, I wish I did this when they were. Take the time, find a nice groomer, contact the I believe your phone number or your address is going to be on the bottom of the screen. If you have questions, can they call?
Any questions you have, sure.
Okay.
Love to talk to you.
If you want to learn more about Dawn's photography work, we're going to be using her a lot. She's going to regret ever coming here because we're going to put her to work. One of the next shows that we talked about is acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
We're taking some photographs of a veterinarian doing some acupuncture dog. And one of the reasons we were able to pull this off is Dawn's invisible.
I like
if
to
you saw the
blend.
picture of Merlin, I don't know if we still have it. It's probably not set up right now, but the picture of Merlin was right in the middle of a competition, a very critical stage when I was out of sight and the dog was in the field by itself and there's people milling about. And I didn't know this picture was even taken until just a couple of weeks ago, and I saw it and I was blown away by it.
Thank you, George.
Blown away by it because I've got a lot of pictures of my dog doing ring sport. I've got a lot of pictures of my dog in the snow, and we all take a lot of pictures of our dogs. When I saw this one here, I was just fascinated by it.
Did you take the picture?
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And well, there's one of the pictures from last week's show, and I think
my
that one there,
gosh.
I don't know if that's on the screen yet. We're just seeing it, but I think that one is a precious one. And these are easily groomed, but even these dogs need to be brushed out, don't they?
Well, mostly it's their folds on their face
Yes,
that
they
need to be
Yes.
cleaned properly. I don't know what's cuter, their front end or the rear end,
I know.
to be honest with you. I just don't know.
Well, I probably messed, you realize, now that we get these pictures up, I
Oh, my
messed Steve
goodness.
up completely because I started to
I
do
know.
my closure, and now we're starting all over. There we go, look at this.
Oh, that's a sweetie
And
pie
all
right
these
there.
dogs can benefit from coming to see a
All of
groomer.
them,
Every
even
single one
the
of these
everyday lab.
dogs.
They're
Absolutely.
a little less intensive,
Yep.
but they're in the water a lot. Their ears need to be looked at constantly. Their feet need to be looked at because the terrain that they're
Yep,
on.
absolutely.
All of the dogs need that attention.
This
they
is
need
some
the
of the work,
connection.
and this is one of my favorite pictures right here. This is such a beautiful picture that Dawn took of one of her clients, and just candid shots are the way to go. So that said, one of the shows we're going to be doing, we got a series of shows lined up that we're going to be
Very
talking
exciting,
about.
George. And I love that you want to bring all this information to the public. I think they're ready to hear it and they're excited to hear it. And I'm curious to
Thank
see
you
what they're
very
going to
much. I
enjoy.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So as I said, take some time, groom your dog, forget about the world. Spend that few minutes with your dog. You don't need a long time. You don't have to do a head to tail type grooming, but brushing them out, get used to them, know their body, feel see if there's any lumps that you might just totally ignore, and spend some time with them. Because folks, at the end of the day, it's all about the dogs. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye. Well, that was fun.